This video is going to cover how to work with firm, leather-hard slabs of clay in order to make a box-like shape. Anytime you are working with anything that has straight sides, you're generally going to want to work with leather-hard slabs, or at least soft leather-hard slabs. You aren't going to want to work with something that's super floppy and malleable because it's never going to hold up. So I already have my slab rolled out via the slab roller, and then I actually have the templates for my rectangular box cut out. So what I am going to do is I am going to lay those out on the surface because I want to make sure everything is going to fit. With these, as I'm going through, I'm going to cut one and then move along, but I am going to test and make sure everything's going to fit. I have plenty of space, so I'm just going to set those aside. And I am going to start by tracing this onto the surface with my pen tools. I already cut one edge to be nice and even with the ruler. So then from there I can just line up this with my template with the edge, trace around it with the pen tool. You do not want to attempt to cut through this with the pen tool. And then I'm going to take my utility knife or the fettling knife, either work just fine. And I am going to cut this out. And my slabs are definitely at the firmest side of what you want to work with. You do have to control the dampness of your material very well, because otherwise things will not turn out very nicely. Alright, so there it is, slab one, and I'm just going to keep moving along, setting these aside as I go. Use your slab material as efficiently as possible. Because it means you have to roll out fewer of them. There will be material you are going to end up cutting away. It's just part of that process, and you will lose some of your slab. It just goes into reclaim. Alright, now that I have all of those pieces, I'm going to set my extra clay aside, and I'm going to lay everything out. So I'm going to start with one of these for the base piece. I'm going to use a rib. You can use either the wooden or metal rib in your toolkit for this and smooth out these tiles. And I'm going to put the sort of texture from the canvas from rolling it out on the inside because you're not going to see the inside anyway. And then I am going to start looking at, okay, how is this all going to go together? And thinking this through, all right, so that would fit side to side. However, I also have my side panels. So what I'm actually going to do is I want to be able to press these onto the end. So what I'm going to end up doing is actually cutting away some material on this one. I'm going to do that by lining up my slab I'm going to join to it on that end and on this end, because all of my slabs are rolled on the slab roller, so they're all nice and even and the same width. And I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. Now, when I put this on the end and this there, and this last piece on the end, it's all going to match up nice and neatly, and then this will sit directly on the top. So then I'm going to take this template and I am going to use this on this other piece, just because then they will perfectly match each other. Now those are ready to go. From here, this is where using a fork is really nice. You can just use your pen tool, but for especially firm leather hard slabs, you are going to need to use slip. There is no way around that. If you are doing a process that requires your slabs be a lot softer to work with, you can either just use water, or if they're really, really soft slabs, you might be able to get away without any added material and just score the two sides so they can join together. All right. So now I'm going to also score the bottom of this. And the side of this. Or actually, not that side, this side. That's going to go together, and then I'm going to do all of the sides that this is going to need scored on it as well. All right, so I'm going to start with this piece, and I'm just going to take a brush. And I'm going to use some slip. I prefer to use a very thick slip that's got quite a lot of clay in it, almost to the point of it being a paste more than anything else. And I'm going to paint that on that surface. And I'm going to give that about like 10 to 20 seconds to dry, and while that's drying a little bit, I'm going to apply slip to this other surface so it's being prepped and ready to go. I'm going to test this, and when it's at the point where it's sticky, that is the time to sort of set this down. I'm not going to press too much yet because I need to make sure I've got this piece on as well. And then I'm going to line this shorter piece up on the very edge. I'm going to press it down quite firmly, and then I'm going to press the second slab right against it, and I'm also pressing down with it. And if you don't mind seeing the seam, that is okay. If you want to cover up the seam, pull material from the very edge of one of the slabs, which usually there's a little bit of overhang. If you want to make sure there's overhang, just give your slabs an extra 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. Because you do need to make sure these are very firmly melded together. If you don't quite have enough material to do that, you can take a little extra clay and add it over that joint once you kind of move things around to clean it up, and fill in any gaps that would be made. I'm going to do that on this side as well. And I'm going to keep doing that the whole way around. At this point, I'm going to speed up the video, so it's going to rush through it pretty good, and then I will show you what I'm going to this point, I'm going to use my rib to sort of smooth this box out, even up the sides, clean up any edges, because the more of this I do now before I attach the top, the better. It will also help with merging in seams a little bit. I'm just going to add a little clay to fill in some gaps there. Smooth it over with the rib. If anything disconnects, make sure you get it reconnected. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some damp clay. And I'm going to roll out small coils. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting those on the inside of this box in all of the corners to reinforce all of the joints. Because I'm going to enclose this box, I don't really have to worry about cleaning it up. If it's something that's going to be visible, do make sure to actually cover everything. I'm just going to do that with all of the sides. All right, now that leaves the matter of the top. So then I'm going to do a similar thing to the rest of it. I'm going to score the entire surface. And I'm going to score the entire bottom of this piece. Slip over everything. Let that become tacky. And then I'm going to attach it by initially just pressing down. And this is something where I should have made this a little bit larger than the rest of the box so that I have an overhang over all of the sides. And I'm just going to pull down from the top to the side wall, making sure to move clay because we need to make sure that joint is good. And I'm going to do that all the way around, and then at the end I will go ahead and clean this up, even it up so it's nice and clean up any mess that I have. As you can see, You do need to keep your table surface clean as you do this, otherwise you tend to end up with a very, very large mess and you will get crumbly bits of clay everywhere. If you have any marks or lines in your surface, just use your rib and that will scrape those out. And you're just going to keep working on cleaning it up until you're happy with that. And that is the basics of building an enclosed shape.